At 18 years old, Maya stood in the driveway of their childhood home with a duffel bag at her feet and her younger brother Eli beside her. He was 16. The house behind them wasn't theirs anymore. Their mom had passed away 4 months earlier, and the bank had already put up the foreclosure sign. Maya's hand shook as she pulled the car keys from her pocket. It was a 2003 Honda Civic with a dented bumper and a crack across the windshield. Everything they owned was packed into garbage bags in the trunk and back seat. Eli didn't say anything. He just stood there looking at the front door like he was waiting for someone to come out and tell them this was all a mistake. But no one was coming. Their dad had left when Eli was 7. Their mom had worked 2 jobs until the cancer made that impossible. Now it was just the 2 of them. Maya had graduated high school 6 weeks ago. Eli had 2 years left. She didn't know how they were going to make that happen. She unlocked the car and they got in. The engine turned over on the 3rd try. Maya pulled onto the street and didn't look back. Eli asked where they were going. She told him she didn't know yet. They drove for 20 minutes in silence, until Maya pulled into the parking lot of a 24-hour diner on the edge of town. She needed to think. They went inside and sat in a booth by the window. The waitress brought them water and menus. Maya ordered coffee. Eli ordered nothing. She spread everything out on the table. $347 in cash, a debit card with maybe another 100 on it, a folder with their birth certificates and social security cards. Her high school diploma, Eli's report card from last semester, straight A's. Maya stared at that report card for a long time. She wasn't going to let him drop out. That much she knew for sure. The waitress came back and Maya ordered 2 plates of eggs and toast. When the food arrived, Eli ate slowly, like he was trying to make it last. Maya watched him and felt something harden in her chest. Not anger, something else, a kind of clarity. She told him they were going to figure this out. He nodded but didn't look convinced. She wasn't sure she was convinced either. After they ate, Maya paid the bill and they sat in the parking lot. She pulled out her phone and started searching for rooms to rent. Everything she found wanted first month, last month, and a deposit. They didn't have that kind of money. She kept scrolling. Then she saw a listing for a storage unit complex that had a small office space available. The ad said it came with a bathroom and a sink. $200 a month. No deposit if you paid 3 months up front. Maya did the math in her head. $600 would wipe them out, but it was a roof. She called the number. The man who answered sounded old and tired. He told her the space wasn't really meant for living in. But he didn't ask questions when Maya said they needed it for a small business. She asked if they could come see it right away. He said he'd meet them there in 20 minutes. Maya started the car and plugged the address into her phone. It was a 15-minute drive. The whole way there, Eli stared out the window. He finally asked what kind of business they were starting. Maya told him she'd explain later. The truth was, she had no idea. The storage complex was at the end of a gravel road, surrounded by empty fields. It was rows and rows of orange metal units with roll-up doors. The office was a separate building near the entrance, a small concrete box with 1 window and a metal door. The old man was already there when they pulled up. His name was Gene. He had white hair and grease stains on his jeans. He unlocked the door and showed them inside. The space was about 12 feet by 12 feet, concrete floor, bare walls, a single fluorescent light on the ceiling. There was a toilet in the corner behind a flimsy partition and a utility sink next to it. No shower, no kitchen. Gene said the water worked and the electricity was included in the rent. He said if they kept quiet and didn't cause trouble, he wouldn't bother them. Maya asked if they could move in today. Gene looked at her for a long moment, then at Eli, then back at her. He said, cash only. Maya counted out $600 and handed it to him. Gene gave her 2 keys and told her the gate code, then a lift. Eli stood in the middle of the empty room and said this was insane. Maya didn't argue with him. She just started unloading the car. They brought in the garbage bags and stacked them against the wall. They had 2 blankets, 1 pillow, a box of clothes, some dishes, and a backpack full of their mom's things that Maya hadn't been able to throw away. It took them 3 trips. When everything was inside, Maya locked the door and sat down on the concrete floor. Eli sat next to her. He asked her what they were going to do. She said they were going to sleep first. Then they'd figure out the rest. That first night, they spread the blankets on the floor and laid down side by side. The fluorescent light buzzed overhead. Maya turned it off, and they were in complete darkness. She could hear Eli breathing next to her. He asked if she was scared. She said no, but she was. She was terrified. She just didn't want him to know that. The next morning, Maya woke up with her back aching and her mind racing. Eli was still asleep. She got up quietly and went outside. The sun was just coming up over the fields. The air smelled like dirt and gasoline. She walked around the complex. Most of the units were locked up tight. A few were open, with people moving boxes in and out. No one paid attention to her. She went back to the office and thought about what they had. No money, no jobs, no plan. But they had each other, and they had this space. Maya sat down on the curb and pulled out her phone. She started searching for anything. Day labor, gig work, delivery apps. She applied to everything. Then she started thinking about what they could actually do. She'd always been good with her hands. In high school, she'd taken a woodworking class and made a bookshelf that her mom kept in the living room. Eli was good with numbers and computers. He built his own PC from parts he bought on Craigslist when he was 14. Maybe there was something there. She went back inside. Eli was awake, sitting against the wall. She told him her idea. They could start small, fix things, build things. Offer services online. Eli said they didn't have tools or materials. Maya said they'd figure it out. He didn't look convinced. But he didn't say no. They spent that whole day walking around town. Maya had $30 left after buying some groceries. They went to thrift stores and yard sales. She found a basic toolkit for $8. A hammer, screwdrivers, pliers, a tape measure. Not much, but it was a start. Eli found an old laptop at a pawn shop for $25. The screen had a crack in it, but it turned on. They brought everything back to the unit, and Maya felt something close to hope. That week, Maya got a call back from a house cleaning company. They needed someone who could start immediately. The pay was $12 an hour. She took it. She worked 6 days a week, 8 hours a day. She left before sunrise and came back after dark. Eli stayed at the unit during the day and worked on the laptop. He set up accounts on freelance websites. He offered basic graphic design and photo editing. He taught himself through YouTube videos. The first week, he made $15. The second week, $40. It wasn't much, but it was something. Maya used her first paycheck to buy 2 sleeping bags and a camp stove. They started eating better. Ramen, canned soup, peanut butter sandwiches. Eli went back to school. Maya drove him every morning before work and picked him up every afternoon. The guidance counselor called her in for a meeting. She asked questions about their living situation. Maya lied. She said they were staying with a family friend. The counselor didn't push it. 3 months in, Maya was exhausted. She came home one night and found Eli sitting on the floor with his laptop open. He showed her something. A woman had hired him to design a logo for her bakery. She'd paid him $150. Eli was smiling. It was the first time Maya had seen him smile since their mom died. She sat down next to him and looked at the design. It was simple but clean. A loaf of bread with the bakery's name in script underneath. She told him it was good. He said he had 2 more projects lined up. Maya felt that hard thing in her chest start to soften just a little. Winter came. The unit had no heat. They bought a small space heater from Walmart and ran it at night. The electric bill went up, but Jean didn't say anything. Maya picked up extra shifts. Her hands were raw from cleaning chemicals. Her back hurt all the time. But they were making it work. Barely, but still. One Saturday in December, Maya's car broke down. The transmission went out in the middle of a grocery store parking lot. The tow truck driver said it would cost more to fix than the car was worth. Maya stood there in the cold and wanted to cry, but she didn't. She called a junkyard and sold the car for $200. Then she and Eli walked 3 miles back to the unit, carrying grocery bags. On Monday, Maya took the bus to work. It added 2 hours to her commute. She left at 5 in the morning and didn't get home until 8 at night. Eli made dinner on the camp stove, mac and cheese from a box. They ate in silence. Then Eli told her something. He'd been saving the money from his freelance work. He had almost $800. He wanted to buy tools. Real tools. He said if they were serious about building things, they needed better equipment. Maya asked him what he had in mind. He pulled up a list on his laptop. A circular a drill, sandpaper, wood glue, brushes, paint. He'd been researching for weeks. Maya thought about it. $800 was a lot. It was nearly 2 months of rent. But it was also a chance. She told him to do it. He ordered everything online. It arrived in pieces over the next 2 weeks. They stacked the boxers in the corner of the unit. On Christmas Eve, they opened everything and laid it out on the floor. It looked like the beginning of something. Maya wasn't sure what, but it felt real. They started small. Maya found scrap wood behind construction sites. 2x4s, plywood, pieces of trim. They brought it back, and Eli sketched out designs. Their first project was a simple bench. It took them 3 tries to get it right. The first one collapsed. The second one was uneven. The third one held. They posted a picture of it online. Someone messaged them and offered $50 for one just like it. Maya couldn't believe it. They built another one that weekend. Then another. Then a coffee table. Then a set of shelves. By spring, they had a rhythm. Maya worked her cleaning job during the week. Eli went to school and took freelance projects at night. On weekends, they built furniture together. They sold pieces on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. They reinvested every dollar. Better tools, better materials. They still lived in the storage unit, but it didn't feel as desperate anymore. It felt like a work show. Eli turned 17 in April. Maya bought him a cake from the grocery store and they ate it sitting on the floor of the unit. He told her he'd been accepted into a summer program for kids interested in coding and design. Full scholarship. It was 3 weeks long and included housing. Maya told him to go. He said he didn't want to leave her alone. She said she'd be fine. Went. While Eli was gone, Maya kept working. She picked up more cleaning clients. She built a small table and a pair of nightstands. She sold them for $300. She opened a savings account and put half of it away. The other half went to rent and food. When Eli came back, he was different, more confident. He showed her everything he'd learned. He'd build a website, not just for practice, but for them. He'd called it Sibling Built. Simple layout, photos of their work, a contact form. He'd even set up a payment system. Maya stared at the screen and felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Pride. The website brought in more customers. Local people at first, then people from neighboring towns. They started getting requests for custom pieces. A dining table, a bookshelf, a desk. They raised their prices. Not by much, but enough to matter. By the end of summer, they'd saved $2,000. Maya started looking at apartments. Real apartments, with kitchens and showers and heat. She found a 1-bedroom 15 minutes from Eli's school. It was $700 a month. They could afford it. They moved in on a Saturday in September. It was the smallest apartment Maya had ever seen, but it felt like a palace. Eli took the bedroom. Maya slept on a futon in the living room. They didn't care. They had a stove. They had hot water. They had a front door that locked from the inside. That first night, Maya took the longest shower of her life. When she came out, Eli had made spaghetti. They ate at a table they'd built themselves. Neither of them said much. There wasn't much to say. Eli started his senior year a week later. He was taking AP classes and applying to colleges. Maya kept working, but she quit the cleaning company. She focused on furniture full-time. They were getting more orders than they could keep up with. She hired someone to help. A guy named Marcus who'd done carpentry before. He worked part-time and taught Maya techniques she'd never learned. The quality of their work got better. The prices went up again. By winter, Sibling Built was making more than Maya had ever earned cleaning houses. Eli got into 3 colleges. All of them offered financial aid. He chose one 2 hours away. Maya helped him pack. She drove him to campus in a used truck they'd bought with furniture money. They unloaded his stuff into a dorm room that smelled like cleaning products and new carpet. Eli hugged her in the parking lot. He said he wouldn't have made it without her. Maya told him it went both ways. She meant Italiano. She drove home alone and walked into the apartment. It was quiet. She sat down at the table and looked around. The walls were covered with photos, pictures of their finished projects, pictures of Eli at graduation, a picture of their mom that Maya had framed. She thought about that first night in the storage unit. How scared she'd been. How impossible everything had seemed. She thought about all the small decisions that had brought them here. The $600, the toolkit, the first broken bench, the website. Every piece had mattered. Maya didn't know what the future looked like. She didn't know if the business would keep growing, or if Eli would move back after college, or if any of this would last. But she knew they'd built something real. Not just furniture, something bigger than that. A life from nothing. Together, and whatever came next, she knew they could handle it, because they already had